Welcome everyone to an episode of the Definitive Crusade. I am your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes, and joining me, as always, is my dynamic duo crusader. It is the lovely Freyja. It is Suns Out, Buns Out
Yeah,
for
it is.
Freyja. Woo!
Woo!
Woo! It's our
They're
favorite time of the
free.
year. Yeah. Easy to wait, what? They're free?
They're not that free.
I was going to say, OnlyFans is in the way to go.
Yeah, no, we don't have those here. We have OnlyFans, but we don't have the fun beaches.
Yeah, fine. A Titans backdrop there for you. That's interesting.
Yeah. Did you know where this one's from?
I'm imagining it's from some sort of anime manga Titans mashup.
No, it's their variant cover for this year.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow. Cool. And we've got to say Starfire's looking resplendent.
She's looking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm covering Raven back there.
That's fine, but I'm kind of thinking to myself, it's like, young Dick Grayson there might need to take a second look. So
Yeah. Well, he's kind of cut out of the picture, but you can see his chest right there.
Somehow when we think of Dick Grayson, that's not the part that we'll look at.
That's not the part people focus on now.
Yeah. Sun's out, buns out for sure. Yeah. All right, so we have 4 books. This week, I don't know, we very rarely end up with this sort of scenario, so apologies for everyone who's kind of tuned in for our usual mix of DC shenanigans. We have a little bit Batman heavy this time around.
Yeah.
It's not something we do a lot of. We try our best to stay away from everything that is Cape and Cowl, but I suppose with so much product, how can we do that every time, right?
Yeah, it's almost inevitable that we're gonna have like a bat heavy episode every once in a while. It's just like over 50% of the books are Batman related. It feels true. Like
so. This week, excuse me, this week I took a quick punt. I was like, oh, shall I look at Catwoman? Because that's not Batman. And I'm like, well, a second. It rhymes with bat, so it's got to be, kind of there. And of course, the whole 9 Lives thing.
Yeah. Can't wait for that to be over.
Yeah, true that. I haven't looked at this week's Catwoman book yet, but I'm with you on this. It's like, come on, man, just get it over with.
Yeah.
Get it over with. Still. Anyway, let's get into our books. We're taking a blast from the kind of past with this first book. This is the oldest of the books that we're going to look at today. This is Gotham by Gaslight, the Kryptonian Age. It's number 1 of 12. Now, bearing in mind, the last time I saw a 1 of 12 was on the Justice Society book, which is notoriously late like nobody's business.
Yeah.
I mean, that book is horrendous. What nags me the most is it's so well done, yet it's so late. It's just up there with Doomsday Clock and 3 Jokers. I wonder who or what is the connecting factor.
Oh, I wonder.
We'll leave you to ponder that. That's fine. This is a kind of, I suppose, a revisit. Is that the best way to say this? Revisit of a bygone age. It's written by Andy Diggle. Leandro Fernandez provides the art. Dave Stewart's on colours. Fantastically on colours, it has to be said. And Simon Boland's on letters. Quick fact, did you know that Andy Diggle impressed the producers of the Arrow TV show so much that that's why they named the character Diggle in the TV show?
Oh, no, I did not.
And then they went and added John Diggle to the Arrow continuity in the comic book.
Oh, did they?
So that's like art imitating life, imitating art, that's like, my head just mashed. But anyway, no Arrows in this, not quite yet. It's always hard revisiting one's popular grounds. But Freyja, what did you think of this new interpretation of everything Gaslight?
So I forgot how difficult it was to read the accents. And I was like, okay, I know what they're saying, but I just sometimes I have to reread because I'm like, okay.
It's all a little Bridgerton, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little British for my American mind. So I was like,
I said Bridgerton, I was all right with that, but if you want
it's a little, I don't even know if it's when when she meets the guys in the warehouse. That was the specific like scenes that I was like, okay, what the hell are they?
Cool.
I was like, okay, I know what you're saying, but at the same time, I have to reread it because I need to make sure that it's right.
I was reading this opening panels in the same, the kind of, this is really bad and I apologize, but Back to the Future 3,
Yes.
when Marty meets his great uncle on the farm and he's talking with like an American Irish accent.
Yeah, it's
That's
not
what
like
I thought
Irish,
the
but
Kents.
it's American.
Yeah. I was like, the Kents are like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But things got a little bit like formal, shall we say.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, okay. And I was also laughing because Catwoman and her companion, Holly, they switch, and I'm like, yes, because no one will ever notice that the black-haired woman turned into a blonde.
Well, I've looked at this. I looked at this a couple of times. I think the idea here is that Holly is Catwoman, so Selina's left alone in the room and will not be disturbed until she comes back. That's the gentlemanly thing to do. So all Holly has to do is walk around in the heels to imply that Selina's still there.
But she's sitting at the dinner table with them all eating.
Is she?
Yes. She's sitting next to the priest and she goes, most assuredly quite. She's right there.
I suppose so. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Fair shout.
So I was like, okay, so Selina's, it would have made sense if Selina was still a blonde, like she was back in like the animated series. But she's not. She has black hair and different eyes. And then she switches, and now all of a sudden she's blonde. I'm like, no one's gonna notice. Come on, Selina. Like, at least have a wig or something ready. Like,
yeah,
for her. Like, just changing clothes isn't like. That was just something that bothered me. I was also laughing because she's like, no one will look up. I'm like, did you really need to go to the very, very top window to get in of that giant ass window? Couldn't you have like cut a little bit lower down? Did you really have to go all the way up just to go all the way down again?
Somebody's taking this.
I am. I'm just like, the story wise, it's just a basic fun kind of story. Of her getting the ring. I do like Talia al Ghul's design. Just she looks awesome. And I love me some Talia al Ghul, so I was excited when she showed up.
She's there somewhere.
She's near the end. Yeah, she looks great. She looks menacing. She looks badass. I love her.
Arabic descent, which is
isn't she from?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, that's and so
that's how she's supposed to look.
And I love the scimitars and everything. I liked her whole design. Catwoman's design, I mean, I can take it or leave it, to be perfectly honest. I like Batman's design in this type of the Gaslight era, I guess. I like it.
Are you a Gaslight fan? Did you enjoy the original when it came out?
Yeah, and I actually own the movie.
I own the movie and the original. So
yeah. So yeah. I like it. I like this era. I like the whole thing. I like how dark and dingy and everything is, and just dirty, and I like it. So I actually did enjoy this story. I'm interested to see where it goes. And because it's how many of it is there? It's just 12 of them. It's 12 series. Yeah. So I'm hopefully the pacing doesn't go weird, and hopefully they don't postpone it a million times, and I'll lose interest that way. I hope it does well. Just plus I want to see Superman. And
see, now you've touched one of the points I was going to make on this book. I love the classic Gotham by Gaslight. I love it. It's the original's written by Brian Augustin, Mike Mignola art. It's, for me, probably the most important book this side of year one and Dark Knight Returns as the book that got me back into Batman back in the 80s. It's that good. Of course, it's already spawned a sequel in Master of the Future. Love this book. I'll talk about the good stuff first. I thought the story was interesting. I thought it was intriguing, taking it from Catwoman's point of view or Selina's point of view. You get a snapshot of society at the time and kind of how she's frowned upon for being a widowed lady, and of course the ladies of the night or whatever they're mentioned as, is kind of portrayed in that, which links into Catwoman's origin quite well.
Yep.
The standard Catwoman, that is. The art doesn't quite match up to Mignola's absolutely gorgeous rendering. And I'm glad for that, actually, because I think if you try and go carbon copy, you lose something. Yeah. This is supposed to be after those events, so you could argue that the art evolved as society's evolved. I don't know, maybe that's too much of a sign, I don't know. But the art-wise, whilst it's not page for page, Mignola, it is evocative of that style. It is that kind of, as you said earlier, dark and gritty kind of Batman going on. Love seeing Holly, love seeing Talia, love seeing the Kents. Is that a Green Lantern ring?
It looks like a Green Lantern ring, but it might also just be a Kryptonian kryptonite ring.
Yeah, so
yeah, because they glow too.
And this is kind of where my kind of, I suppose, whatever the DC version of a spider sense kind of starts to tingle a little bit. Do you remember the Dark Knight Rises 3?
The movie, yeah.
No. Sorry, Dark Knight Returns 3.
Dark Knight Returns 3.
So the Frank Miller thing with Brian Augustine, and had like a Wonder Woman. She had a child by Superman. Green Lantern lost an arm. It was like I think it was called Dark Knight Returns: The Master Race. I think it was the thing. Came out about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. The reason why I asked this is that book, whilst based in the Dark Knight Returns universe, was absolutely advertised for what it was. It wasn't anything to do with Batman. It should have been the Justice League Returns, not the Dark Knight Returns. And I'm just worried that because we've gone for like a huge kind of Kryptonian age kind of setup with hints of the Kents, the Green Lantern ring or Kryptonite ring, are we getting ourselves all primed for a Kryptonian Justice League? And if that's the case, sorry, a Gotham by Gaslight Justice League. If that's the case, fine, call it Justice League by Gaslight. I'm happy with that. Don't promise me one thing and then give me something else.
Yeah.
And I'm just wary, that's all.
No bait and switch, please.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It could turn out the same. It could turn out completely different. I'm with you on this, though. There's enough in this book that gets me intrigued. This is the first time I've looked at it today on recording of the show. I bought it yesterday on spec because I love the Gotham by Gaslight original stuff. So I was like, yeah, I've got to get it because it's Gotham by Gaslight. So no, I'm intrigued to see how it goes. I do love the Batman design for the Gaslight Batman. Nice. Yeah,
just straight up chucking knives at people.
Yeah.
I love it.
No ifs, no buts, no coconuts. That's the way it's gonna go. No sort of, I suppose, argument about the eyes being not white, although they are white in other panels. It's artistic choice, I suppose. No, I'm intrigued to see where this goes. I will say this though, it's interesting to see. I don't know how you feel about this. It's quite a bit of a misnomer, but it seems like Julie Masters is getting a lot of love. I mean, she's mentioned in the Batman First Night stuff by Dan Jurgens, and now she's mentioned in this. Are we set for a Julie Masters return to the DC Universe Prime?
Maybe, but then again, they were. Remember when Rebirth started, like first happened, and they were talking about what was her name? Not Power. Was it Power Girl? No. One of those variants, and they mentioned her a lot. And it took them years for her to even show up in a book. What was it? Was it Power Girl?
Power Girl?
Was it Power Girl?
Yeah, spoiler, baby. I don't know.
No.
Okay, it's a while for spoiler to turn back up. Oh, I can hear some tippy tapping. We're going to get the answer.
I'm thinking. Was it? I thought maybe it was was it because she had like the ring, the logo.
The Lizzie ring, Saturn Girl.
Yeah, Saturn Girl.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right on that. It yeah. And even then, when she did a turn up, it was very
lackluster.
Exactly. What a great word! I love that word. It's not lackluster. Yeah, it seemed pointless. It was like, what's all the hoo ha, right?
Yeah, she showed up like once.
Yeah.
And then was gone again. But they like made it into a big deal.
Yeah.
When Rebirth still first happened, we're like, oh, cool. And then like she like fizzled out.
This is the Tom King Batman we were talking about, of course, where she appears, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
So there we go. Interesting. Interesting for sure. I know. I don't know. I don't know if I'd rather do the Gotham by Gaslight. I'd rather do them in like double-sized issues and get it done in 6.
Yeah.
Rather than kind of spread out over 12.
Yeah.
It's like 12's like a long time to keep someone's interest, right?
It really is. And then if they're plagued by, like I said, bad pacing or, being postponed, then it's going to be another doomsday clock, which I was excited for at least. And then I just lost interest because it kept getting postponed and postponed. I'm like, oh, it's still going.
It's like the JSA book right now. That book is probably one of the, for me, I don't know how you feel, but for me, it's one of the funnest books, straight up superhero books DC put out. But it's so hit and miss schedule wise. It's like I don't even know what number we're on anymore.
Yeah, because like if it's not consistent, I completely forget about it, regardless of whether I liked it a lot or not. Like I go, oh right, that one, because I get wrapped up by all the other stuff.
Yeah.
I have a short attention span.
22 pages at a time. That's as far as I can. All right. Okay, so that's our oldest book of the show. We're back into the current slate of books. With that in mind, so this is Freyja's first choice. Yeah. It seemed apt that we end up going back to look at this bad boy. This is a Black Label book. This is John Constantine, Hellblazer, Dead in America. It's number 6 of 8. It's written by Simon Spurrier. I'm going to say Steve Spurrier there. Aaron Campbell's on art. The incomparable Geordie Belair is on colours. And Geordie, if you ever want to be on a show to talk about how you do colours, please reach out. I think you are fantastic on every book I've seen you. I've never been disappointed. So, keep up great work. And of course, Steve Wands is on letters. Before we get into this book, I would like to quickly talk about something that you guys might talk about in a couple of weeks when I'm not around.
Zatanna.
Yeah, man, check it out. I can't wait for this book. My local comic book shop in Darlington, the Darl Knight, have shown me the art germ cover for this book, and it is gorge. So, just saying, looking forward to seeing that.
It looks great.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Cover can be deceiving, man. She might not even be wearing that outfit in the book.
Well, that's fine, but it's written by Mariko Tamiki, which I enjoyed her Supergirl run on Being Human. Javier Rodriguez is Batgirl Year 1, Spider-Woman, Amazing Spider-Man, a whole host of other stuff. So, there's some talent on this book. It might not be your traditional look of how you think Zatanna should look, but, both covers have her in fishnets. That's a good thing. That's a good start already for me. But still, cool. Right, this is your book, so would you like to take it away from past Zatanna, please?
Sure, and just a brief, I guess, catch-up synopsis of.
Please do, because I need one.
All right, so just really. So essentially, what's happened is, John, of course, has come back to life once again, but his heart's not beating and his body's decaying, right? So he's essentially a zombie. And which is very different from usual. And so his friends, the ones who are like driving the bus, they're wanted for murder. So they're on the lam in the US. And then from, I guess, Sandman universe, Dream needs Constantine's help because something is using its sand from his pouch to like manipulate things and like take over this area in the US. And so yeah, so that's basically what it is. They're trying to fight this. I can't remember what they called it because they called it something, but Dream wants Constantine to figure out and to destroy, not destroy, but to take this thing out and figure out, all that. So that's basically what's going on. They were in Las Vegas, I think, in the last book, and they're on their way to LA. Las Vegas. So they're on their way to LA now, which is only about was it like from Vegas? It's like what? It's like only an 11-hour drive. No, it's less than that. Okay, so it's a about 5-hour drive. So that's not very far.
Easy peasy, squeezy lemons.
Yep. Because where I'm from, it's about 15 to drive, and then we hit Vegas.
Further for me.
You have a plane ride and stuff. Yeah. No, it's not a bad drive. I've done it. It's very ugly, but it's not bad. It's not a bad drive. If you like deserts, it's pretty, but I hate the desert. But yeah, that's basically what's going on. Someone's using dreams as sand to manipulate the world. And they're just kind of like, they picked up the zombie dude in LA, or not LA, in Sin City, aka Vegas. And he used to be, I guess, a writer, screenwriter way back in the day.
A comic book writer.
A comic book writer too, yeah. And way back in the day, now he's a zombie, and he just kind of goes on, rambling about stuff. But he like all of his scripts and shows and stuff that he, sent out to be made and whatnot.
And this is where the problem lies.
And this is because of the dream sand or whatever. Everything he's talking about and thinking about, becomes real, and they have to deal with that shit. And the dude's just like, I hate the guy, but he's also like the biggest dick, like racist asshole, sexist racist asshole. I was like, well, par for the time back in Hollywood back in the day. I mean, from when he's from, that was just kind of par for the course. It was extremely shitty. And so he was just that type of person. I'm like, yeah, it seems right. And then they start getting chased by cops, but then they use, I guess, I don't know how they get away with it. The dude just like, I was just like, what?
I'm so glad you said that.
Because I was like, okay. They pull a freaking Dukes of Hazzard. He like chucks the urn of, I don't remember, at the driver, which knocks him over to smash into the cop car, which then pulls the Dukes of Hazzard and like shoots off. I think it all has to do with the dream sand, because that's some shit you'd see in old like Dukes of Hazzard 1970s Hollywood stuff, where like the cops go flying. And
I love the Dukes of Hazzard. Don't
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, but that is what would happen in the Dukes of Hazzard.
I'm old school
show.
So the original Luke and Bo Duke, thank you.
Yeah, I watched that too. It was great. Yeah,
Daisy Dukes.
Daisy Dukes was a cutie. Yeah. So it just it was like, I think it's all from this guy's mind with the sand and everything, because that was his Hollywood. And so everything that kind of happens is things that happen in his Hollywood. And then I love the art. Can I just say that? Like,
yeah, of course you can.
It's absolutely beautiful. It has that Sandman dark, kind of roughness to it, but the use of color is really well. And when it gets dark and the skeleton, like the giant Native American skeleton monolith things pop up, it looks really cool. And it's just the use of lighting was really well done. And then they run over the Yeti.
See, the Yeti, the emissary. Yeah, definitely. This melt who's banging on about your scripts. He's neither here nor there. He's a distraction for me. You know what? When I started reading this book, I had no idea what the hell was going on. And now that you've explained this, I still have no idea what's going on.
I would say go back and reread everything because
exactly.
It's a trip, man. When you mix Sandman in with Constantine, it's just like
I do like how the magic users in the DC are connected in this book. You've got Swamp Thing, who's historically, especially in Justice League Dark, quite antagonistic towards old Constantine. Here he seems a little bit more helpful. Dream, I don't think I've ever seen Dream and Constantine interact before, but I'm not the world's biggest Constantine fan, so I apologize if I don't say that. I love this book right up until the moment. Excuse me, they picked up the hitchhiker.
Yeah, he's
He's
a dick, but
yeah. And let's stress this right now. This is a mature book. It's a Black Label book, and they pull no punches. There are certain words that appear in this book you don't expect to see in comic books. So bear that in mind when you're perusing it on the file. On the rack. It's not that so much. I don't mind dick characters because sometimes you have to have characters that are dicks in order to get the contrast and for the heroes to make the right decision and all that. I get that. I'm okay with that. But just the way it just meanders on about nothing, and it just slows everything down. And then you think to yourself, well, is he the emissary or is he not the emissary? Because he's talking BS. How much of it is BS, or is the truth hidden amongst the lies, or is it all of it lies? You know what? I just don't know, and I don't care that much to actually wade through it and try and work it out. I think Spurrier, can overcomplicate stuff, and this is one of those books that is overcomplicated, which is frustrating for me because as I say, I quite enjoyed the first issue. We looked at it a while ago. This issue, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the first third. I quite enjoyed the last third, the middle third. I have no idea because it was just words on top of words on top of words, stuck in a bus, not going anywhere. And I was like, you know what? This isn't entertaining for me. I'm done with this. I would have expected this issue to be somewhere around issue 3.
Yeah, it's pretty far in.
To kind of start sort of like, trawling that path if you're looking for someone to guide Constantine and his gang to their holy grail. Because it just seems to me like they've worked so hard to get to this point, and then it's just sort of like hit a bit of a snag. It's like, all right, we're going to spend X amount of time on it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's metaphorically in a status of traveling by bus from one place to another, how that feels like a long winding road, and hence this book has long winding elements in it. If that's the case, well done, congratulations, you've been metatextualized. But for me, I'm like, come on, man, I read this for entertainment. I don't need to read a book that tells me how long it is to travel between two places. That's what Google Maps is for.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think the art works really well in the book. I think the colors are gorgeous. I think for me, the kind of opening sequence with the green and Constantine in the skull, and then the kind of Swamp Thing elements that go on in there, for me, I think that's the highlight of the book.
Definitely.
Which kind of then frustrates me because it's like, if that's the highlight and that's 4 pages in, why do I need to read the rest of the book? But things get a bit better towards the end. I will say Johnny Belair is fantastic, and I've said that for a number of years now. So there you go. Cool. Are you going to be reading the rest of this?
Probably just to see how it goes. But there's only 2 books left. I don't know if I'll buy it though.
That's a good call.
That's the thing.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, isn't it? For sure.
Yeah. Money's tight, man. I can't just be throwing money at comics that I don't absolutely adore. I like this, but it's definitely not one that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the best. You have to read this. I'm like, yeah, I enjoy it, but
I definitely think it's very much 8 issues deep. What's that going to be, like $24 in the trade paperback?
Something
like that. Maybe get untrade. I don't know. I don't know how that works. All right, let's see. Time for a quick break for one of our other shows. We had K-pop last time, so we can't go there. Where can we go? You know what? Do you think it's time for a crisis?
Yes.
There you have it, the Crisis in the Toyverse with Bobo and his cast of figures. You know what I'll say by now. Yes, he takes them out of the box. Yes, he plays with them. God knows how he keeps all the little hands and guns and all the other accessories together.
I have no idea.
I have no idea. That's why you keep them in boxes.
I don't have the little figures, but I have the big statues.
Yeah, I have some statues. Yeah, what's your favorite statue?
Ooh, my favorite one?
Yeah.
That's hard. My favorite one though.
It's hard because we're all watching her as she says this, and we're all judging.
I love them all. No, it depends. Like I have it's a 2-figure set of Ahsoka and Rex. Yeah, and it's the scene where in the last season where they're on the ship and they're back to back with each other, and she has her lightsabers out and he has his guns out, and they're taking out all the other clones on the ship. But
like to see you keep it DC.
I'm sorry. If you want a DC figure, DC, I have a Batman figure I like. It's the one where he's on the it's in my room background. I don't have my room background. I'll show you. I will show you my room background and I'll point him out. Is this it? I think this is the right one. There we go. See him back there next to Soups?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah. Cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, other than that, this Gara one right here, super expensive, but Gara of the Sand right there. But that's my anime one. Anyway, I'm going back to the beach. Give me a second.
For me, what have I got statue-wise? My wife buys me all my statues practically. I think I've only bought 2. One being, in fact, both of them being Batman from the various games, Arkham City and the Arkham Origins one.
Yeah.
Let me just have a look. I have a really gorgeous Zatanna. Bombshell Zatanna.
I was looking at the Bombshells Batwoman one, but everyone kept saying there's paint issues, and I was like, I'm not.
I think I have a Supergirl Bombshell bust, and of course I have the Christmas Bombshell Wonder Woman.
Nice.
Where she's doing the pause, but it's like surrounded by Christmas lights rather than chains and stuff.
That's cool.
So every Christmas that comes out, so there you go.
I need to get some Christmas ones.
I have a whole raft. I recently bought the Jokerized Batgirl figure from McFarlane Toys.
Really?
Yeah. You want to see?
Yeah.
Hang on.
Sorry, guys. Distraction. Oh, nice. I like it. I like it a lot.
So yeah, I recently purchased this as a gift to me. There you go.
Nice. I like that.
It looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the 3 Jokers thing, and the back, the box as well.
Ooh, that's
very nice.
Very nice.
Illustrated. So there you go. Cool. My Batgirl fetish is alive and well.
Nice.
All right. Okay. Back to comics. Next up is your second choice.
Yep.
We are sticking kind of Batman-ish, although this one gets a little bit crazy in an understated kind of way. This is Batman Superman World's Finest, number 28, written by Mark Waid, who we have to admit is an absolutely one. I've interviewed him, so he's a gent, he's a good guy over and outside the panels. Two, the dude can write, right? Dan Mora and Travis Mercer on art. Tamara Bonvillain, who has got the greatest surname in all of comic books, on colors, and Steve Wands is getting his second shout out as Lara.
Nice.
Cool. This was your call. Don't understand why Mojo's on the front of the book. It was normally an X-Men book, but never mind.
I don't. Yeah.
Sorry.
You know what he looks like a mixture of? He looks like a mixture of Mojo and Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, when he's all cartoonified at the end.
Tanner, is he Tiger?
What was it? Christopher Lee's? Not Christopher Lee. What the? Why am I blanking his name? Oh my gosh. Because I'm like thinking Doc Brown because you mentioned Marty McFly earlier. I'm like, I know that's not his name. Christopher Lloyd, right?
Right. Yeah, Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah. His character when he goes all
21.1 gigawatts.
But yeah, he looks like a Mojo mixed with the Who Framed Roger Rabbit villain at the end. Yeah. That's what I think anyway.
Well, fair enough. Why did you pick this book? Surely it couldn't just be to test my patience, was it?
Well, well, I looked at the Wonder Woman book and went, no.
See,
and
I was told you the Wonder Woman book. You know how much I love that Wonder Woman book right now. I haven't seen the new issue yet. So
I was like, I saw her cuddling up with Cheetah, and I was like, nah, I don't need another touchy-feely, feel-good book. Let's try to find something else. And then I looked at the other ones. Nothing really was like standing out to me. So I'm like, all right, let's just go. Let's just go with this.
You're not wrong. I think the last couple of weeks have been a hard kind of. I think because we're gearing up for Absolute Power, so the next time around you'll have hopefully a whole raft of those to look at. So it does feel a little lame duck at the minute where we're just waiting for things to kind of like escalate to that. You've done a great job by picking this book because this is kind of an out of continuity book anyway, so it doesn't have that pressure of trying to maintain a status quo. So it means you get to play with some, I mean, of course, this is the Dick Grayson Robin, so already we're ways from where we are now. So
yeah, and Superman's like son named John. What? That sort of thing, and it's like. Yeah, so this is way out of continuity. It's just kind of fun weirdness. If you like that, if you like Mixoplex, you'll probably like this because it's just, and the little imps, there's the imps of everyone. It's just kind of weird. And the guy wanted to fight Jimmy Olsen of all people because why not, I guess. But yeah, this is just a weird book. And I don't know. The use of colors is very nice, very vibrant, very colorful. It's wacky and zany as it would be with the imps. They come through the pages and stuff, and then they accidentally fall into the first dimension where they're just in a dot. So, if you like out of context, not so serious things, then yeah, I guess this would be the story for you.
I hate stuff like this. That said, there are a couple of moments here that are absolutely peach moments, and they are well. This is why I said Mark Waid is so good as a writer. First one, we've kind of. First off, let's give kudos. I don't think I've seen a more capable Dick Grayson written as Robin for ages.
I know, right?
So let's just give kudos to that because that Robin is a well-worked Robin all the way through. Yeah, so I think that works really well. The second bit I really liked was this bottom panel.
Yeah.
It's such a great year one homage. Definitely. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then go and buy year one right now. Maybe not right now, listen to the rest of this, but go and order it. Year one is probably, for me, page by page, the best Batman story. I prefer year one over the Dark Knight Returns.
That's well, everyone has their opinion on that.
Oh,
I'm not saying you're. I'm not saying I disagree. I'm just saying. I'm not disagreeing.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it. You think the Dark Knight Returns is better?
No, I'm just saying. For our listeners out there, there may be some who disagree with you.
That's fine. They can just be wrong. And the reason, the reason why I can say this with such clarity is that I think the Dark Knight Returns, at the time when it was published in '89, is an absolute peach of a book for sure. Now, if you look at it through today's societal eyes, I think you'll find it's more satire than anything else, and that's why it doesn't work so well, as opposed to year one, which is classic all the way through. Time.
See, I with me, because I don't know if it's because of my degree or whatnot, like when a book's written in a specific time period or whatever, I just kind of put away my modern sensibilities and just read it as is. But that was also part of my major, because I had a history professor who came out because we had to do a book report on a book about ancient a story about ancient China at the time. And he failed almost everybody except for me and a couple other people, because he comes out and he goes, okay, he's like, all of you failed. Well, most of you failed. Because he's like, I don't care about your personal opinions and moral views. This is a history class. This is what was accepted back then. Right. I don't care what you feel is acceptable or not. That's not what this is. And so I was just kind of beaten into us to like, when you read something from an old like Lord of the Rings or especially like Mark Twain or something, you have to realize that they're not bad people, because this is just how society was at the time. Didn't make them bad people.
I love Dark Knight Returns. I think it's a great book. I think when I go away on holiday, it's one of the books I take every time. What I mean is, I suppose, when you think about when you read it and you've got an actor like Ronald Reagan being the president making daft decisions, and then in reality you've got Donald Trump, it's kind of like what?
Yeah, well,
and the nuclear weapons and all that sort of stuff. That's
Star Wars.
I will say the other bits I liked about this book, I love this kind of transition to the old 70s animation style going on there between the characters.
Yeah, I love that.
Thought that was really clever. The other thing that I really liked is this interaction with Batmite. Now, Tracy would probably hate this sort of thing. Because Tracy likes Batmite as Batmite. But this one's Batman realizing, it shows credence that, you know what? The Batman Adventures cartoon show where Batmite was created has relevance to everyone's Batman. And this is probably one of the reasons why Batman enjoys such longevity, is that he can be lots of different characters and different types of characters for different eras and different people, right?
Yeah.
So in the 30s is the gun-toting vigilante. In the 50s is the spacefaring superhero that kind of has to watch out for the comics code. Late 60s, 70s turns back to the Dark Knight detective. 80s kind of becomes a bit of a satire of himself, until 89 comes along and then revolutionizes him through Tim Burton's movies and hit that particular prism, and so on and so forth and so on. So this is an example in this comic book of how things like Batman the Animated Series, The Batman with Rino Romano, The Batman, and Batman Brave and the Bold can all exist. They can all be valid versions of Batman, and that's what's going on in this page. And I actually quite enjoyed that element I think that's Mark Waid dusting off his comic book historian mode and saying, you know what? It doesn't have to be all grime and gritty. It doesn't always have to be like Gotham raining on a Christmas Eve night. You know, it can be other times. And I think that's reflected in that page for sure. And I think that's a nice touch. So, other than that, I thought the book was chaos upon chaos upon chaos. But
yeah, well, that's what's to be expected with the imps.
Interesting that Robin gets killed and gets brought back to life. I wonder if they'll use the same trick when because Batman gets it. Oh no!
Yeah, probably they probably will.
I don't know what's going to happen there, but yeah, I'm sure Mojo will get back to his own comic book sooner or later.
You know what this comic reminded me of, for whatever reason? It's not Marvel, but did you ever watch Freakazoid?
I don't think so. No.
Freakazoid, do in his underwear.
Sing it again, because that would help me really remember.
I'm not singing it again. You can look it up. It was a Warner Brothers cartoon, along with like Animaniacs and stuff.
I don't know. Okay, well.
No, okay.
No.
I don't know.
I imagine that it's funny you mention Animaniacs because there's a level of that kind of Looney Tune-esque vibe throughout the whole book.
Yeah, so Freakazoid is like a parody of superheroes because he's a kid who got sucked in through the internet and got superpowers that way, or something like that.
Is it dude in wearing white with a red sort of like
a red onesie with the lightning bolt? Yeah, and he has yeah.
Yes, I am aware of that then.
The zaniness.
Oh my god!
Sorry, that thought popped in my head at the end right there.
I suppose all we got to do is now sing the Animaniacs song and we're sorted, aren't we?
Animaniacs. I grew up watching that crap all the time.
Crazy to the max.
The max.
That's all I know.
Yeah, no.
I just kept waiting for it to end so I could watch Batman the Animated Series.
I did that too. I just sat down. I lived in a desert. I wasn't playing outside. I was inside a lot.
Fair enough. We used to have an Animaniacs video in our playlist. Just have a quick look for it.
Do we have an Animaniacs? Was it the Hello Nurse?
Yeah, it was.
Hello Nurse.
Hello Nurse.
I don't think we have it anymore.
No, we don't, unfortunately. Not here. It might be on the flip side. Right, so our last book. We mentioned at the start of the show we are going Batman heavy. This one's a bit of a palette cleanser. This is Batman 149, tying up a couple of loose ends that have been around for one that's been around for a fair few issues now, and another that's just kind of sat there in recent times. It's written by Chip Zdarsky, Michelle Bandini and Steve Lieber are on art. I will say this, Michelle Bandini's art, if she did the first part of this book, well done. Nick Filardi is on colours and Clayton Cowles is on letters. So the lemon sorbet of the comic book world. That's what this is. Pretty much cleaning the decks, ready for the next big, I suppose, bat challenge, as it were. So the reason I picked this book is I'll be honest, I misread something. I misread. I thought it was Damien that was getting aged up.
Oh no!
And I was like, "Oh, this will be interesting." Nah. And that turned out it wasn't Damien. It was the Robin clone that Zur-En-Arrh had kind of put in place to take down the Robins. That said, once you switch gears from that, it's an interesting read. It's okay. I thought it was a bit schmaltzy, a little bit emotive, a little bit, kind of trying to reconnect with the past. I don't have a particular problem with that. I like the fact that Batman's kind of redressing the balance a little bit. It can't always be front foot forward. It sometimes needs to stop, evaluate, and then move forward. I love the fact that he trusts Tim to spot any sort of differences in his personality or any issues that might lead to any potential triggers that have been left behind in him. The hand, the hand's the big issue in this one. So clone Bruce gives up his hand so that Bruce can have his normal hand back. I would have thought that the hand would die at the same rate that clone Bruce would.
Yeah, because it's the same cellular structure.
So it kind of won't work that way, but it probably goes with the back.
Comic book magic, man.
Yeah.
Comic book magic.
Bruce has got his millions back.
His billions.
Billions, so that's impressive. I hope that leads to some sort of Lucius Bruce Wayne fight down the line. Not a Batman Lucius, Bruce and Lucius. The whole hand thing strikes. It's like Doctor Who when David Tennant lost a hand in the Tesseract battle and then comes back to haunt Torchwood for God knows how many years.
Oh God.
I found the whole passing of clone Bruce. I found it oddly moving. I thought, I didn't expect to. I mean, I didn't cry buckets, of course, but
it makes you feel bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And you think when you consider all the sort of like negative stuff that happens to Bruce's kids, this one was absolutely stinky in comparison. I love the whole taking on Vandal Savage. I like that. The second part of the story, I like the idea behind it. Although what's going on with Cass and Steph, and they are kind of coupled now. Are they a couple?
I don't know. I don't know.
The problem with this is that the art sucks in this. In this last part of the book, it just hey kids, welcome to Saturday comic strip in your local newspaper. Woo!
Yeah, I thought that we switched artists all of a sudden. I'm like, it was doing good, and all of a sudden, I'm like, wait, what happens? Like, am I writing a different story now? What was this?
I like the story. I love the idea that the mansion's now in the city as opposed to being out in the sticks. I love that Selina's kind of around. I love that they call it Pennyworth Manor. I love all those great things. All those things work, but man, the art sucks.
Yeah.
So if you buy this book, you're buying it for the front half of the book rather than the second half of the book.
Yeah.
But hey ho, what are your thoughts?
I liked the first half art wise, like you said, it's really good. And also I agree with I didn't think I would really care or feel anything when Clone died, but they really made you invested. Probably because Bruce is super invested.
Yeah, but it's not impressive though for just one issue.
Yeah, it was really, really good, really well done. That's good story writing right there to make you care about a character you didn't care about before within one issue. I also felt really bad about Damian because he it may not be what's going on, but for the mind of a 13-year-old who wants to do something with his dad in his own twisted way, his own Damian way, and his dad's like, no, I have to deal with this other person. So I was like, I feel like Damian feels like he's being, especially with the side eye he kind of gives. I'm like, it really feels like this. He feels like he's being pushed aside, again, with his dad.
Yeah. And the throwaway line about failsafe is just a lead into absolute power as well.
Yeah. So it's like,
you're right,
Damian's like, fine, I'll investigate it on my own then again. I'm like, poor Damian, man. Like this kid, he's so messed up from the time with his grandfather and his mom. He doesn't know how to but he's still a child, and that's shown in his Robin book too. And I was like, I feel so bad. Damian's my second favorite Robin. And I'm like, he's still a kid.
Stephanie Brown, right?
After Dick Grayson, but sure, whatever. Whatever. But yeah, and I like that Bruce took Tim with him because Tim would be with it, and it was really well done. I'm like, about time Bruce got his money back because sorry, Batman is not just his money. It's this whole carrying thing. Batman cares, and that's
evident in this book. This issue,
yeah,
all about that.
This is all the Batman that I know and love. So That's I think why I really liked it so much. And yeah, the second half I was like, I thought I hated the art. I did. I thought it was ugly and it's just weird. I don't know why they are like having this vendetta against freaking Babs. Like, why did they make her look like a frumpy old middle-aged white woman? Like,
says the girl that's got Starfire's boobs right next to you, right here.
Yeah, I like the boobs. Okay. But like freaking Barbara is dressed so frumpy like all the time. I'm like, why is she why are they doing this to her? Because we did that whole gala thing that she went to with Dick Grayson with, and I'm like, what is she wearing? What is she wearing? And then this one, I was like, she looks like a 50-year-old college professor, who has a flat chest, nothing there. She looks frumpy.
None of the characters.
Nobody looks good, but I was like, seriously, she looks so bad and so frumpy. Sometimes I'm like, maybe you guys need to hire some stylists to come in and tell you that this is some shit style. Because who would wear this? Get a stylist, someone who knows anything about fashion, and get your comic book characters to dress less frumpy. I'm like, it's just so.
So on this panel alone, you've got Duke, who I haven't seen in months, wearing a Flash shirt. You've got whichever Robin that is. I think it's got to be Tim wearing a Superman t-shirt. It's just,
I don't know what Damien's wearing. Is he wearing a Naruto t-shirt? What is that?
And how's Bruce standing there? It's like, come on.
He's flying, obviously.
No.
It's just the art is just and
I just wish they put the effort into the backstory as much as the front story. So.
Yeah, it's just something. And then what is Damien? Naruto? He is wearing a freaking Naruto t-shirt. Oh my gosh, they just blurred it out enough you can't tell. When Damien's running down the hall, if you go to the scene where he's running down the hall, you can actually see it.
Yeah, I don't know who Naruto is, right?
Naruto is, I'll just let's see. I'll just get you a picture of him and so you can see.
Brilliant. Thanks.
I know you care so much. Okay. So Naruto is this. I'll just download a picture and show it. Or maybe not. I don't know. Anywho, whatever. So
Naruto, hold on. Is it spelled like
Naruto?
Oh, there it is. Let's have a look at some images.
Look at the blonde spiky hair, and then he has the headband on, and then he has the whiskers, which are also on the t-shirt.
Yeah, I can see that now. Yeah.
It's like an overly super simplified, so they can't get, I don't know, maybe sued or something. Yeah. And they slap Naruto on his shirt.
He's down with pop culture, isn't he?
Naruto was popular when I was in high school. They're about 15 years late. If they want to be up with the culture, they needed to have like Demon Slayer or Chainsaw Man on there or Jujutsu Kaisen, not Naruto.
Fine.
I'm being overly critical of people my own age. I'm sorry. Or within my generation.
You're being overly critical of people in your generation drawing fictional characters, yes. With other fictional characters.
They're anime characters, man.
The fictional.
Whatever. But yeah, I didn't like the art. I thought it was
Naruto is not like a documentary. It's not like Star Wars. Star Wars at the start of the movie says a long time ago in a galaxy far away. It's a documentary. It's a history show.
Sure it is. Yeah, I didn't like the art. Overall, I'm a pass on this one. Okay, this one's worth a buy, but for the first half, not the second half.
Yeah. And you know what? I think for me that probably sums up this whole DC idea of putting like a backup strip in the back of the $4.99 books. If you're going to put a backup strip, take those pages out and just add more to the regular pages, please.
I wish I would just stick with the secondaries, like
Yeah,
story that has nothing to do with the current story in the book. It's just this
Yeah.
extra.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe.
like when they're connected because then I can't just ignore it. You know?
I can't argue with you. There's been so many times I've flipped through like a $4.99 book and I say, oh look, there's a backup story. I quickly browse through it. It's got nothing to do with what's going on. Bin it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not interested. So apologies to all the great creators and some of the bad ones that are working on those books.
Yeah, sorry.
Pause. All right, that's it for another week. We're done and done. 4 up, 4 down. Don't forget to check out UCPN, dropped a letter there, UCPN for all your favorite shows, including Freyja.
K-Pop Cosmos, where we talk about all things K-Pop.
Cool. No prizes currently on a break, so the other options you have are the Old Timers Comic Book Show, where the hosts aren't old, but the comics most certainly are, and of course, outside the panels, check out the latest episode, a very intense chat about someone who's gone through some horrendous ordeals as a child. So for mature viewers only on that one. But there's a whole back catalogue for you to go check out. There you go.
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent, Freyja. It's been an absolute blast as always. Thank you so much for your time.
It's always fun to be here.
It's always fun having you here, my dear.
Thank you.
I've been your host, Johnny Machine Hughes. I am not here next time because I'm in Ibiza, baby. Woo! So it'll be Freyja holding down the fort with
I'm so sorry, guys.
with Josh and Matthew, I believe, will be back.
We'll see who's here.
Yeah, we'll see. Normal service will resume thereafter. Until then, have a great time. Adios.
Bye, guys.